Rusty Hooks Live, Episode 2. We've got Shane Lineberger in studio today. Unfortunately, had to lose Brandon Williams at the last minute, so we have Stick Figure Brandon.
Stick Figure Brandon with the ugly hat.
Terrible hat.
That's right.
Terrible hat.
Go Gamecocks. Go Gamecocks. It's baseball season, boys.
That don't matter.
Yeah, it does.
That's-
Hey, did the Tar Heels get in the ACC tournament, or they just not let them in this year?
We're so good. They're just going to let us in the NCAA.
Well, everybody gets in the NCAA except Division II schools.
Oh,
That's what NCAA is.
so what are you trying to say?
You're playing like a Division II school, maybe?
What seed are the Tar Heels in the ACC tournament?
To be honest with you, I don't know. As of right now, we're not seeded because we're not in the tournament. We have to play the play-in game for the first time ever.
I'm talking about the ACC tournament. Aren't
So
they
am
like
I.
the last
So
seed
am I.
in the- okay.
So am I.
Well, you know, my Gamecocks won that not in the tournament 1 year called the NIT.
Yeah, we may not even get invited to that. Don't you have to get invited to the NIT also?
You know, I really don't know. I'm not a big college basketball buff. I couldn't tell you one way or the other.
Well, maybe you need to reevaluate your situation then.
Well, I might need to since Carolina is better than Carolina.
There's only one Carolina, and it's blue.
Well, this year it's deep blue from all the crybaby tears they've been crying.
Man, it's been rough, that's for sure. The roughest season we've had in a long time. I don't care. I mean, regardless, if we win every game or if we lose every game, I don't care. I still hate Duke.
Well, I don't like Duke either, but welcome to what it feels like to be the other Carolina fan.
At least you admit the other Carolina. All right, anyway, let's get into something more meaningful than two losing basketball programs.
That's right.
Well, we'll roll into the CBC tournament, which I was there firsthand, and yeah, it sucked.
Hey, well, let's back up here to podcast number 1
Oh boy.
and the weight predictions. Let me.
That was good.
I want to hear both you guys say who was correct on that.
Hey, you were still a little high, but I'll give you
I was
credit.
only a pound high.
Yeah.
I was way closer than 21 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, Price is Right rules, we'd all be back in the stands. They'd have to bring somebody else in.
No, y'all accused me of betting $1, and I still won.
You did win.
That's right.
Did.
That's right.
I think you said 17 pounds. I was the worst. I think I said 22.
Yeah, and Maurice Freeze and Jason Barnes won it with 15.85.
Wow.
Yep.
Which,
And the whole story I told you about having 22 pounds and finishing 23rd and out of the money, well, 8 pounds you got to check this time.
yeah, 8 pounds. And I couldn't even pull that together. I came in somewhere in the back with a whopping 570.
Bust out that shake your head.
Whacked
Rick.
them. Whacked them.
Go after him.
Whacked them. No, I tried to be like my heroes and throw a jerkbait all day and see where that got me.
That's what I would have did.
So, well, Big Fish, I think, in that tournament was a 6-17. Scott Henley and Nick House, if I can read Brandon's writing correctly. We'll work on that. We'll work on that next week,
Yeah, that's
Brandon.
pretty bad. We don't read shorthand very well.
Yeah.
Well, how about you can do your own research next time and just not worry about my
Well,
handwriting?
that's why you make the big bucks.
Yep. So now that tournament's over, we're on to better things. Brandon, you want to recap the PBC tournament at Lake Lanier since you were there firsthand, experienced all the fame and glory of Lake Lanier yourself?
Sure. First of all, I will say that lake is very large, and when the wind blows, it gets very rough. But the spotted bass down there, wherever they get them things from, they need to put those things in Lake Norman because those are a completely different breed. Them things are big and mean.
And a lot of fun to catch.
First one I caught, I swore it was striper until 3/4 of the way back to the boat. I finally got to see it, which, you can see 20 feet down that place. But I can't remember the guys' names. Those guys down there, they whacked them. So it's a 110 boat field. Water temps are 49, 51 in the morning on tournament day, and we saw 54-ish, 55 towards the end of the day. I know that place is known for spotted bass, but the guys that won, there were two 20-pound bags weighed in, and the guys that won had an 8.5-pound largemouth as their big fish. So not only does that place have small or spotted bass, but apparently it's got giant largemouth in it too. I didn't see any. I had 1455, which was good enough for, I think, 30th or 31st, whatever right in front of Andy Wicker is. I beat him.
Shots fired at Andy.
That's right. Andy and Steve took the whole family down.
Did Andy fish with Steve?
He did. Yep. They sure did. Father son duo.
Right.
Man, it took 16.5 pounds just to get a check down there. And,
I'm telling you, that place is phenomenal. I've always said that's the best spotted bass fishery in the southeast. I don't care if it's Alabama, whatever. That place is phenomenal.
that place is cool, man. I can't wait to go back. I mean, I want to get out there with Heritage Pond. I'm sure it's.
Catch 5-pound spotted bass on top water.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, no fun at all.
But I can't wait to go back. It's not a bad drive from our area. I mean, it's not by 85 to get it. I mean, that's it.
It's about-
You have to get to Alabama.
It's about 2.5 to 3 hours for me.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. As far, I mean, it's long, but it's not. It's not a whole bunch of back roads and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. Going to the place you're very unfamiliar with, don't know anything about, and able to, strap something together and catch but I'll say a respectable limit being on Lake Denver. So
I'm assuming you went out of Laurel Park.
we did, which is a long run up the river. I'm not sure which river that is. It's the one on the right.
The one on the right, he said.
But that big old barge I got, it was fun getting in boat races down those things. So
Yeah.
get
I'm
it
not sure.
winded out.
I'm not sure which river that is either. I think it may be the Chattahoochee. I know the other river is Chestatee River. I do know that.
That's right.
But I think the other one may be the Chattahoochee. And maybe the head, shoot, I don't know.
The river was dirty. It looked really good. I couldn't get any bites up there. I'm wasting a bunch of time trying to figure that out. Carolina boys see dirty water. We get excited, especially in the lake when you can see 20 feet down.
Yeah, with a lake that's not used to being dirty.
Yeah.
I know.
It
Well,
is. Good.
go ahead. You'll say what?
I will say this, man. Those guys down there, so Laurel Park, I don't know if the lady was affiliated with the Palmetto Bass Trail or if she worked for the park or not, but when I brought my fish to her after weighing in, they got two really big, horse trough, watering, tanks that were all used to sitting their bag of fish in weighing lines.
Right.
And she reached for my bag because there's they got a tube to release the fish in. And when she grabbed my bag from me, she asked me, "Is your fish need to be fizzed?"
There you
I
go.
did a double take. I was like, "No, not me. It's mine real big. I'm not fishing 100 foot of water." But man, I looked down in those two big tanks, and there were 4, 5, and 6 pound spotted bass floating upside down everywhere.
Yeah.
And she was fizzing every one of them.
That is so awesome. Fish care.
That was
Fish.
big time shout out to whoever that was.
Yeah.
I got her name. If that's the PBC, or if it's just Laurel Park, they know what kind of fishery they have down there, and they're taking the time to protect it.
That's right. I wish everybody would do that. It's
I do too.
fish care is critical, especially when you catch them out of that deep water like that. I've said that for years out here on Lake Wiley. These guys catch them 30 feet deep and throw them back, and they swim off belly up. Well, they're not going to do anything but die. A lot of people don't understand that what happens is when that fish's swim bladder expands, that's not what kills it. What kills the fish is when its swim bladder expands, it puts pressure on all of its internal organs. And that's eventually what kills it. It expands enough and stops the fish's heart. Is what happens.
I didn't know that. I have had some, I'll say, friendly debates with people that say fission kills, but I will tell you this. If I fish one, which I wait around and weigh in when I can and catch ones and fish, but it's not real hard to do. And I'm not known for fishing deep. I can catch that way if I have to, but I know how to fish.
That's right.
And I'll say this for the guys that do fish deep that are worried about fishing them and killing them. Well, if you kill them trying to fish them, obviously do it after the weigh-in so they don't get a dead fish belly. But if you fish them trying to kill them, it's better than doing that and taking the chance trying to at least let them go down, because if you let them go belly up, they're definitely going to die.
They're 100% going to die, no doubt.
And the guys that say fish and kill them, well, it may or it may not. But again, if they're swimming belly up, they're going to be turtle food before too long. So,
Osprey food or whatever.
yeah, it was great to see, man. That made me feel good about, because that was in the back of my mind, right? I mean, when you're running around down there, obviously the guys that finish in the money for out there fishing, you know, what I will call the abyss, I'm sure, or street tops or
Down there it is. That place is, those fish are known for being 50 to 70 feet deep.
yeah. But it was awesome to see her doing it, man. She took her time. I mean, she had gloves on and a couple different needles laid out, one at a time. I mean, and the being aware, I'm sure she was there way after weighing was done to finish it up.
Yeah, that's good to see that.
Yeah, again, big shout out to the PBC guys for doing that, and Orbit, Florida Park, whoever the employee was, you guys hats off to you.
All right. Well, we covered all the local stuff. We're gonna dive into the classic. Couple of local boys showing out this weekend. Congratulations to Hank Cherry for winning, Todd Otten for second, and Shane spent his days walking around, making friends and meeting new people in a coronavirus-infested atmosphere.
Let's hope it wasn't infested. If it
So-
is, it's going to be bad.
So if it was, well, we all got it now. So
Yeah, 'cause that was probably the most crowded classic I've ever been to. There was a lot of people there, and you know, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed being there. Next year, I expect to be there in a different capacity as a competitor, not just somebody walking around talking to people and doing what you can do to pass the time. I mean, you know, it's always good to work your sponsors' booths and things like that. You know, the sponsors are the ones that keep us going. They make the world go around, as I like to say. So, you know, you got to show them as much love as you can. But still, yeah, we all want to be out there competing, not just hanging out.
no, but it is good for guys that fish professionally to spend that time
Oh yeah.
meeting fans, making new potential ventures with other companies, expanding on what they're already doing, and what, you know, the future. You can't stop planning for it.
That's right. That's right.
So without sponsors and fans, there is no professional sport anywhere.
Anywhere. It doesn't. I use that analogy a lot. You know, I tell people it doesn't matter how good you can catch a fish or hit a golf ball, whatever. If you don't have somebody there, have a fan base there, nobody's ever gonna know. Nobody can come up, pat you on the back, tell you how good you did. You know, and it's no good for anybody.
That's right. When I played minor league baseball, I always volunteered for all the kid days because, you know, I'm nobody, but those kids, I might as well have been, just insert famous baseball player's name now. I remember being little, we used to have shot nights in Fort Bill, and I still have my gloves from when I was a kid. It's got names all over people. I don't even know who they are. But at the time, they might as well have been Roger Clemens or Nolan Ryan or John Smoltz or whoever. Because to those kids, you're famous.
That's right.
And,
I did.
Without them paying to come see you, there is no money to be paid out.
Yeah, and I did the same thing at the Classic this year. I was stayed about an hour and a half away from the launch site, and Sunday morning, of course, time changed, so we lost an hour's sleep. So I got up at like 4:30, drove all the way over to Guntersville, and they had a deal for the kids over there. Myself, Destin DeMarion, Derek Hudnall, Tyler Rivette, and Kobe Krieger. We all went out there and did a Q&A session for those kids, and got to hang out with them for a little while, and hopefully we convinced a few of them that they really needed to go to college before they tried to become professional anglers. So I enjoy doing things like that. Anytime you can influence a kid the right way. There's so much bad stuff goes on these days. We need to kind of help direct them a little bit when we can.
That's right. Everybody got to do their part.
That's right.
No, and based on what you're saying, with everybody walking around the Classic show and all that, it's nice to see that BASS is not dead. I will chime in on, some people may say that shot's fired. MLF is trying to change the game of bass fishing for the better in some aspects. The you're not paying to fish is cool. I don't think if you're a professional that you should have to pay to fish, personally. But having, all the fans still support bass being one of the longest standing names in fishing is pretty cool to know that that's not a dying thing.
Yeah, that being said, I don't think you'll ever see the Bassmasters go away. And for one simple fact, I've told people this and they look at me like I'm crazy. I don't care if it's Major League Fishing. We had the PAA several years ago tried to do their own little deal. But one thing no other organization will ever have is the Bassmasters Classic. It's our Super Bowl, it's our World Series, it's our Daytona 500. However you'd like to look at it, it's just something to compare it to. And there again, we were fortunate enough to have two of our local guys around here. They really showed the type of talent we have around here. And I haven't said it, but hey, congrats to Hank Cherry. He's a very deserving individual of that title. He worked his tail off to get it. And, for Todd, too, I really hated to see it come down to those two guys. Todd's one of my roommates on the Elite Series. And Todd has been right there so many times that he's eventually going to get it done. He finished really well in the Forest Wood Cup several years ago down on Lake Wheeler. And now he's he's a bridesmaid at the Classic. Eventually, it'll fall for Todd because he's just too good of an angler.
Mr. Consistent.
That's him.
So, well.
Yeah, both those guys are taking plenty of our money around here. Hopefully, congratulations to Hank. Allen West Classic is the 50th Classic. You talk about long-standing name.
Yep.
50 years.
That's one thing. That's one thing they'll never ever take away from him. He's the 50th. The 50th, the golden anniversary of the Classic. He's a champion. And it'll always be there.
That's right. Hopefully he'll be so wrapped up with media and all that type of stuff that I don't ever have to worry about competing against him around here again.
I wouldn't hold my breath on that.
Him or Todd.
That's one thing about our guys around here. A lot of guys when they go home, they don't fish. They'd rather do whatever other than fish. They look at fishing as a job. You know, around here we have a real contingency of fishermen that like to fish. We enjoy it. I mean, I know myself. My wife thinks I'm crazy. I fish all the time when we go on vacation. What's the first thing I'm looking for? I'm trying to find somewhere to go fishing. You know, and a lot of the guys are like that too. And
Well, it helps you keep your skills sharp.
it does. It does.
You know, it doesn't matter what body of water you're on or what you're throwing at.
Yep.
It keeps your skills sharp, and that may be why some of the best anglers in the country come from our area.
Yep.
Because that's all we do.
We don't really have anything else to do.
There's good golf in the area. Hear Robin tell it. There's good bowling. I wouldn't know. That's for Shane and him to figure out.
We're gonna get Robin on here. We're gonna have that discussion.
Oh well, he was very, very proud and honored to be mentioned last week, and I'm sure we could get him on at any time. But I don't know, Brandon. You got anything to add about the Classic? What it means to you as an angler?
Yes, I watched live abundance on Sunday. Actually, I think I watched it from start to finish. I fished on Saturday, so I didn't get to watch any of it then. But we all know Hank, right? I mean, Shane does a lot better than David and I do. Man, it was so cool to be sucked in as a fan. You know what I mean? Like, I had a personal tie to it. It was I couldn't put it down.
That's when it's cool. Is when you know the guy that's right there, and you have well as I do. You pick up the phone and call him, hey man, what's up? And and you know you have that personal connection. You tend to pull that much harder for him. It like you said, it makes you. Every time he sets the hook, you tense up and hold your breath like, God, I hope he gets it in. You know?
Don't screw up this time. Don't screw up.
I was on Lake Wateree Sunday, trying to get ready I'm trying to make up my mind to fish the Thomas Richards Trail next weekend, the top 60s down there. I'm pretty sure I watched more live than I did fishing, so I didn't get much practice in.
Right.
But, man, I was an emotional train wreck with him. I mean, he didn't have fish till 9:30. It's like I was sitting there. I was like, man, he's blowing. Oh my God, he's blowing. You know, I gotta turn this off. And then I shut the phone down for a few minutes. Like, nah, I gotta watch it. And he finally got that fifth one, and it was like, you know, I mean, it just.
Well, see, I know this sounds crazy, and I know on live they were really getting on him about staying on that causeway. But what they never talked about on live was, like I touched on just a minute ago, you know, we had a time change that morning. And well, the fish don't know the time changed. So, you know, they're on their same feeding schedule. So obviously it's going to make them bite, you know, an hour or so later than what they did the day before. And for whatever reason, I don't know why anybody didn't pick up on that, or maybe it just sounds crazy to talk about it. I don't know, but it, you know, that I really that was what was going on in my mind is like, hey, you know, they're gonna bite an hour later than what they have been just because of the time change.
Well, I mean, the causeway stuff. I mean, it can happen in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You can get right in a hurry.
Yep.
But those fish swim around. That's why we lose them.
Yeah.
Sometimes find them. So, you know, I'll add this, David. You're talking about anything else to add to it? Talking about our anglers around here. You know, our lakes here, they're pretty tough. I mean, if you come out of this area, there's one thing that you know how to do, and it's how to be a grinder and to fish till the bell dings.
For sure.
You know, we're not used to fishing and getting, you know, catching 50 and 60. I mean, we're fishing for 7 bites, and you know, that takes a lot of mental toughness and being able to focus and bear down, and you know, that's what those guys that come from around here, that's what they get, just keep casting. I was lucky enough to fish a couple old JJ tournaments with Hank, and you know, get some lessons on fishing jerkbait
Yeah.
No, thank you, Duke
You know, I
Energy.
mean,
We do not.
we don't have that stuff. So I thought it was kind of cool. I mean, Hank did have some fish and some grass, but I mean, he won the way we fish around here.
That's right.
That's
And
my problem.
here's another thing that I'm going to touch on right quick that I don't think he got enough credit for was on day one when he had that 29-pound freaking mega bag. You know, there wasn't a lot touched on about the one adjustment that he made, and that being picking up that crankbait when that wind is pounding on the bank. You know, he caught, I can't remember, it was either 3 or 4 of the fish that he wound up weighing on day one on the crankbait. I don't know what type of crankbait it was, but, you know, the wind was pounding on that bank, and it kind of made it impossible for him. Well, I won't say impossible, but it kind of made it more difficult for him to throw the jerkbait. So he picks up the crankbait, this fishes the wind. You know, and that's another thing that we do around here that I think a lot of people don't do. I mean, I know I had, when I was at the Elite Series last year at Lanier, I had a camera boat on me for a little while, and that's what I was doing. I was running the wind with a crankbait. And the cameraman's constantly asking me, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, I'm just, wherever the wind's blowing on the rocks, that's where I'm fishing at. And you know, he never really could grasp that concept.
It was an old timer before my time bass fishing. I've heard a lot of people around here mention his name, talk about it. One of his most famous sayings that rings true to this day is he would always tell guys, the wind is your friend.
Right.
Fish where the wind blows you to, and the fish are blown there too.
That's right.
Shane, why is that? Why do you think that is? I've heard a lot of stuff. I want to hear your theory on that. Why
Well,
the wind is your friend?
There's two really big things that go on when the wind blows. First and foremost, what happens is the wind crashing on the bank stirs up the plankton, which in turn draws the bait fish, whether it's shad, bluegill, whatever it may be. Well, of course, with that comes the bass. Then, also with the wind blowing, what you have is that wind breaks up the surface of the water, which makes it almost like a dirty water situation where the fish can't see as well, but they feed off their lateral line. And it makes them a lot more susceptible to baits. They don't get to see it as well. They have to make up their mind. Am I going to eat this right now, or am I going to let it go? And fish being, you know, opportunity feeders, you get, when something comes flying by their head, you get that reaction strike, and they just can't help themselves. That's just kind of my theory on it.
I got you. Yeah, the only thing I have that's pretty much everything I've been told, bits and pieces. You know, that's a good explanation. Yeah, 6 feet we might get just a little bit of information.
Right.
But the one thing I'll add to that, I've always been told that when they're breaking up the surface, it gives them something, what I'll call a quote-unquote hard substance to feed against. You know, if you think about going down to the bottom of the pool and looking up, if it's a slick glass column, they don't have anything to really give any kind of depth perception, if that makes sense. And then when it breaks up like that, it's almost like it might as well be a seawall they're pushing bait up against.
Yeah.
It just gives them a little bit something better to hone in on. And you know, bass, their eyes are on top of their head. They're used to feeding up. They don't have any eyelids, so the wind helps break up the sun too. And, you know, they're always looking up, and it's slick calm, and they can't daggone see. I need sunglasses.
That's right. Exactly right. Hey, we could make a lot of money if we could develop some sunglasses for bass.
You went there.
Heck
You
yeah.
went there. I was trying not to say it. Thanks, Shane. Way to go. What about oxygen?
They can only see my lures. I swear the sunglasses they wear sometimes I'm fishing, they might as well be Stevie Wonder because they can't find my crab.
What about oxygen level where the wind's blowing? You know, churning water. Oxygen level, bass fishing. You know, bass are going to chase the most oxygen they can get. I don't know. I'm no expert. I just
I've heard that too. All I can tell you is everything I've ever heard about the wind is positive. So,
Unless it just blows too hard, which, is
does it ever blow too hard?
not for me. I mean, if it blows that hard, it can make it difficult getting around, but, other than that, it's good. The one thing we have not touched on was the Toyota series at Hartwell.
No, we did not.
We got a little brief thing last week while I was there, but we all got to give a great, big, huge shout out to Chris Williams for winning the co-angler side at the Toyota Series at Lake Hartwell. That's an amazing story in itself. We all know Chris. I hate to say he's challenged, but he's a challenged dude. He don't let any of that stuff bother him. And he whipped them boys at Hartwell to win himself a brand new Phoenix 518. And man, congratulations, Chris. That's awesome, man. I'm proud of you.
For
yeah,
sure.
congratulations, Chris.
With
Yeah,
everything.
it's been a good week for the Carolina guys.
Yeah, no
Somebody
doubt.
else won a boat too, didn't they? Down at Clark Hill, in the Oakley Big Bass.
Say it again.
I said somebody else won a boat too, didn't they? In the Oakley Big Bass at Clark Hill.
Somebody did.
What do you know about that?
Somebody did.
I didn't pay attention to
Somebody did.
I was just gonna say we got 2 boats coming home and a classic trophy coming home. Man, that's a big deal.
Yep.
it. It is.
Yep. For old Bobo, Brian Morgan.
Why do I have a feeling it was hard for you to say that there, Shane?
It wasn't. I called him up and congratulated him. Hey, anytime somebody does something like that, I think we should be happy for each other. It's there again. It's just a testament to the competition we face every weekend here. If you can come around this area and win, I feel like you can win anywhere. We got some hammers around here.
Oh, they do grow them best in the Carolinas for sure. Well,
I've been bankrolling them for years.
Bankroll, let me see it.
I've helped a little too. Well, what tournaments we got coming up this week? Shane, what do you know about?
I really don't. I think Thomas Richmond's thing is at Wateree Saturday, the Carolina Top 60.
Yep.
I don't know if is there a cat or maybe something at Norman?
There's a cat at Wiley.
Okay.
I don't know about Norman. Oh, there's a kayak event, which we'll touch on a little bit. I know none of the three of us partake in kayak fishing for multiple reasons. But they do have Hobie BOS series on Lake Norman.
What is BOS?
I don't know what the acronym stands for. I'm not up to speed on all
Is that Saturday?
That's Saturday and Sunday.
2 days.
Yes, the Queen City Kayak Fishing Bass Fishing Club will have an event Saturday that's hand in hand with the Hobie event. It's kind of a new tournament with some new rules. They've changed the measuring systems. It'll be interesting to see how everything shakes out coming up in that event. That's at Norman. There'll be forecasted over 100 kayaks fishing at Norman this weekend.
Now, when they do that, they can go put in anywhere they'd like, or do they have to go out of a central location?
My understanding is that you can put in at any public ramp.
So you can't go to your
No, you can't call Mama and pop
You can't
in.
put it in Mama's backyard?
No,
Okay.
you can't pull that off.
Gotcha.
No, I've threatened to fish a few of those events, but unfortunately I cannot mentally bring myself to do that.
I could figure out how to put a 25 on the back of one would be good.
They wouldn't let us. They wouldn't let us.
If they made them take off from a central location, that'd be one heck of a blast off.
1, 2, 3, go. All of a sudden everybody's going nowhere.
Still there. No.
The only thing cooler is catfish tournament when
Well,
they take off.
this-
All those kids just cranked up, wound out.
Just so y'all know, I'm going to go ahead and tell you ahead of time, we just pissed off the whole entire kayak nation.
No,
John Ladd, I'm sorry.
no, I actually think those guys would appreciate a couple of bass boat fishermen talking about them. I can't take anything away from those guys. There's some very strong anglers in the kayak world, and you know what? For whatever reason, they choose not to buy bass boats is beyond me. But good for them, and you know what? That's a growing sport. They had a kayak tournament at the Bassmaster Classic. They walked across the stage.
Yep.
And
First ever.
it was the first ever event, and from my
BASS
understanding,
sanctioned kayak event.
it was the largest registration that they've ever had in a kayak tournament to date.
Really.
That was my understanding from what I was told. Now, I'll have to get some feedback from some of the kayak guys. Maybe here in an episode or two we can grab a couple of them and get them to come in here or hop on the phone and do a little bit of a Q&A session about how their organizations work, and as bass fishermen, you know, we see them on the water and they seem like a nuisance sometimes. You know, they're paddling around trying to fish, but at the end of the day, they are just like every one of us that have bass boats.
Well, they are, but here's my only complaint with them. When the guy is sitting underneath the dock fishing, and I can't see him, and I pull in, and he starts yelling at me because I cut him off.
That's not fair.
I can't.
No, that's an agreeable grievance that I would have to agree with.
I mean, I've had that happen more than one time.
Oh yeah.
You know, look, all he's got to do is say, "Hey, dude, you see me sitting in here? You ain't got to start cussing and raising Cain at me, because I'm only gonna take that so much. Then we're gonna have a serious problem."
No, and unfortunately, testosterone is very high in our bass fishing world.
Right. Especially when it comes to getting cut off.
No, for
We
sure.
will have a big bad John instance, Shane.
Man, you
Oh
know,
boy.
Brandon, that was one of the funniest things. Looking back at that was one of the funniest things I think I've ever had happen on the lake, and I'm just glad you were there with me to witness all that.
All right, now, guys, you can't leave mystery for all of our viewers that keep track of this. They're going to want to know this story, so why don't you elaborate? I think we've got a few minutes.
Well,
I'll let Shane tell his version of what he can remember.
I had just gotten my brand new Nitro Z21. I think that was that 2018, Brandon?
It was the blue wrap. I think so.
Yeah, okay, that was 2018. Well, Brandon wanted to go ride in it, so we meet up at Norman and we go fishing, and we run back in Hager Creek up there. Well, there's a shoal out there that's out in the middle of the lake. It's got a huge sign on it that says shoal. Well, the fish are schooling off the end of it. It's early springtime. The fish are wadded up. They're schooling off the end of it. We're sitting out there catching them about every other cast. Well, Brandon and I are talking. I look up, and here comes this guy. And was it a Ranger, Brandon, or a Skeeter?
I'm pretty sure it was a late model Ranger.
Okay. Well, anyway, this guy, we're setting about 2 casts off of that pole, throwing towards the pole. This guy's idling over through there, and I told Brandon, I said, "What's this guy doing?" He just still idling, looking around, like they ain't a soul out there but him. Here he's just idling along. Well, about that time, he's still coming. I asked Brandon, I said, "Is it sure this guy's not going to cut between us and that pole?" Sure enough, here he comes. He's idling right across there. Well, there again, it goes back to what I said a minute ago. I start yelling and cussing at this guy. I told him I hope he sunk his boat. As he goes across, as he goes between us and the shoal, and I'm sitting there holding my rod, and I'm yelling at him, whatever. Well, as this guy he throws his hand up and waves at it like I'm trying to get his phone number or something. As he gets past us on the back of the motor, he has stickered on the back of the motor, "Big Bad John." So ever since then, that has been known as the Big Bad John incident.
Well, North Carolina grows some of the best anglers and some of the dumbest, all at the same.
It was so bad that he was blowing mud.
Yeah.
Like he was kicking up mud from idling. I mean,
He's idling across it.
Tears mud up.
Yep, mud going everywhere. That's why I told him I hope he sunk that thing.
You know,
And not so many words.
it's funny to me. I fished a lot of tournaments on Wiley, and there's a few spots that there's danger buoys that mark off areas that you shouldn't run through. And without fail, in the summertime, there will always be a pleasure boater cut in front of me and where I'm fishing across the top of this shallow area that I know, sure as I'm sitting in this chair, that if I ran across it, I'm knocking my lower unit off.
Yep.
But
Every
every time this happens, these guys get away with it scot-free. Why is that?
I don't know. I guess it's always been said that God protects his stupid people.
Well,
There you go.
there you go. Well, maybe we might have to do an episode on boat safety and courtesy on the water.
I've been good with that.
I mean-
I shared something on Facebook a couple of years ago about common sense after we just about got ran over by a couple 13-year-olds on a jet ski. And I couldn't believe it, man. I just thought it was common sense. And the amount of comments, and it got over 200 shares. I mean, it was like I'd written something that nobody had ever heard of before.
Unfortunately, common sense is not so common.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
It's not on. It's not on YouTube.
You talk about pleasure boaters running over shoals and kayak fishermen and all that stuff. It's all good for our industry. Pleasure boaters tear stuff up, keeps our marinas open, and kayak fishermen they buy tackle too. So
That's
it's all
right.
good for the industry we love.
Well, the industry that is experiencing some very interesting days. I speak from that on the tackle side. You know, things are changing in our industry. It's going to be an interesting next couple of years, as far as I can see it.
If they don't do something about the coronavirus, it ain't gonna matter because we can't get any because it all comes from overseas.
Well, yeah, that is a fact. Forget the jackhammer. If you need a jackhammer, don't buy you. Whatever I got in stock's what I got. We won't have any more after this unless something frees up soon. Well, all right, Brandon. So you're still on the road driving. What other tournaments we know about? I know we touched on Thomas's. I know we mentioned the Cat. I'm sure there's a Cat at Watery. We got the kayak tournament covered. Shane, what's your next event? You're going to Chickamauga in a couple of weeks, aren't you?
I leave Sunday to go to Chickamauga for our elite event that got rescheduled. I'm really looking forward to that one. I think it's going to be good. I think we kind of lucked out on that one as far as the scheduling goes when we got flooded out before. I think it's going to be a lot better event. The fish should be trying to come shallow finally.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be on a warmer trend toward the end of this week. It's going to be up in the 70s for 3 or 4 days, and that should get those fish moving up shallow, which is a lot better for me.
Yeah, we know you can't fish past 10 foot.
It's more like maybe 5.
Well, fair enough. All right. Well, we did.
What's that tournament called? Is that the Buddy Gross John Cox shootout?
No, I'm gonna tell you something, boys. Not to take anything away from John or Buddy. I don't really know John. I know Buddy fairly well, but it's gonna when you put that group of guys on any place, I think it's any one of the guys out there can win at any given time. They're all that good, and I think that kind of gets overshadowed when you go to somebody's home lake. I mean, I'm sure Buddy will do well, and I'm not saying that he's not going to win, but it won't be easy for him. Let's say that.
Yeah, well, little known fact, talk about fancy fishing here for a minute, our picks classic. So anybody I pick on the podcast, I'm sorry, Paul, I think I cursed you. I think Paul finished.
Boy, you put the Who Man Bam on Paul Mueller. Good Lord.
I put the X on Paul. I'm sorry, Paul. I did have him on my fantasy team, but I also had Todd, I had David Mullins, Brandon Lester, and Cody Huff. So I moved up. I was in like the 200s after the first event. I've broken the top 100 now of the nation, or I guess of the world. It's global.
Dang.
I'm in like 67 7th place or something like that.
We
I
have-
think two or three of the groups I'm in, the private groups.
We
and
have-
I'm winning the Enigma fishing group.
Awesome.
Shout out to Jesse Tacarante. I'm hoping that he's going to send me something for winning after week 2.
we have our own fantasy fishing pundit.
There you go. Well,
And I'm also winning the True South. I'm actually 2 for 2 on that one. True South Custom Lures group as well. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm a little worried about my picks at Chickamauga because there's one time in the year that I'm not real good. It's immediate pre-spawn and through the spawn. So those guys, obviously Buddy Gross and John Cox will be high percentage picks in the pools, but that's not really how you win in fantasy fishing. You got to take those 1%ers and hope they do good. Like Hank, for example. I think Hank had like 1.6% in his group, and I picked Brandon Lester in that group.
For the classic.
yeah.
Yeah. Canterbury was in that group too, and he had like, I think it was somewhere close to 40% of the picks. So,
Yeah, he didn't even make the 25 cut.
yeah, well, I do not take that because, there's some strategy involved.
Yeah, you can't gain it. You can't gain any points by picking him.
That's right. So, you're almost better picking someone that might get 1 or 2 points, either more or less than him, that, that's got, 2-3%, which, Brandon Lester had a good bit, but it wasn't, it was like 6, right? It wasn't 30 or plus like Scott had.
Yeah.
But the Chickamauga, Kyle Welter, I think that's how you say his last name, the guy caught 10-pounder down at St. John's.
That's right. Yeah, the professional poker player.
Yeah, it's a little known fact, but I was told from an unknown, I'm not going to get my resource for fantasy fishing, but apparently he was from Cleveland County area for a long time, but he's been relocated, so he might know a little bit about Chickamauga. I would assume.
I think he's still over there a whole lot. He does Kyle is a big YouTube guy. He has a YouTube channel that's pretty popular, and a lot of the videos that he does is from Chick.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'll have to see what groups those guys are in. He's definitely going to be a sleeper pick for me, for sure.
What were your picks? What were your picks for the Classic, Shane?
I picked Matt Herron, who, if I'm not mistaken, finished
10th.
He was 10th, but he beat both of you guys' picks.
He beat one of mine. My dark horse finished second, sir.
But you didn't pick him.
He was my dark horse. He was my second
But
pick.
that don't count.
Well, but
So
still.
we got to establish some rules here.
What happened to your second pick?
My second pick, I do not know where Luke finished.
What was his name?
Luke
He
Palmer.
finished pretty well.
Yeah, I know he made the 25 cut.
Let's see here. I got the results pulled up on the computer. Luke Palmer, top 15.
There you
So
go.
solid run for Shane.
Shout out to Luke. Thanks, bud.
My two picks, as far as Zaldane finished 16th, and Todd finished second. So I'm not completely lost. I may look like it sometimes, but I'm not completely lost.
No, you look like it all the time.
Well, I had Paul and Cody Huff. I think Cody made top 25, but Paul did not. If I'm in the top 100 fantasy fishing, you guys screwed up by not playing.
Man, I try not to be a keyboard warrior. I try to stay off of it as much as possible.
Candy Crush Queen.
Hey, playing games and fantasy fishing are two different worlds, man. I gotta keep my mind sharp.
That's right. They're both fantasy. That's right.
Yeah. All right, so we're coming to the winding down minute or two of the night. We did mention a giveaway last week. Daniel Weber won that guess. We had a lot of write-ins. He was the closest to the number, and we have close to 500 different Zoom products in the store at this point in time. So Daniel, stop by the store, and we will get you taken care of, sir.
What if Daniel's not local?
Daniel is local. Daniel's one of many repeat customers here at Rusty Hooks,
I got you.
and I see him once or twice a week, so he'll be easy to get a hold of.
Well, I'm sure he'll swing by and get his prize back.
He'll be here tomorrow with bells on him, sir.
Awesome.
Congratulations, Dave.
Alrighty.
That's the first inaugural Rusty Hooks Live giveaway.
That's
About
right.
that. I guess I'd like to give one more shout out. We got a big fan. Doesn't like bass fishing. It's my brother.
Yep.
His name is Benjamin Williams. Give a quick shout out to him. He's been sharing our stuff all over social media. It's following along.
We need that. Need all the shares and likes and
Like, shares,
good
and all
stuff
that
we
good
can get.
jazz. For sure.
Yeah, he's listened to us. We got 5 or 6 platforms for podcasts now: Spotify, Google Podcasts, working on iTunes. Those become available before too long. There's an approval process that has to go through, but he's listened to our podcast on about every one of those platforms to make sure it works. And said he was responsible for 10 or 15 of the views on YouTube. So,
Well,
I guess we got our manager.
That's right. Tell him to manage all he can.
I will. This one's for him. Dedicated to him.
There you go.
the real test is I need my tech guy back. Brandon, I know you had to go take care of some business tonight, and we're behind you on that, but I need my tech guy back because I am not the most technical savvy guy available. So who knows? This might not be recording. We'll find out tomorrow.
I hope it is.
Me too.
51 minutes of air if it's not, boys.
I think we got it all right.
All right, well, we're gonna sign this one out tonight, and we'll jump back on next week. Maybe we can get Shane on the old cellular device
Absolutely.
for some practice recap and see how things are looking at Chick, and maybe we can do some predictions on ways to win. One of these days, we'll try to get a guide trip out of Shane as a giveaway for all you listeners out there. Since he's the professional.
Oh,
Before we
God.
go, tell our listeners and viewers how they can find us.
That's your job, sir.
All right. Check us out on YouTube. Rusty Hooks Live is the easiest way to find us. We're on Facebook as well as Rusty Hooks Live. Believe it or not, we got an Instagram account, Twitter, everything you guessed it, Rusty Hooks Live, and also our podcasts as well. They're available on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, the whole gambit. All you gotta do is get your podcast searcher out and search for Rusty Hooks Live.
Well-
As always, you can reach us on email as well for any questions or comments or even ideas for future shows at rustyhookslive@gmail.com.
That's right. Now, Brandon, what was that app you were talking about for the podcast? We all kind of added to our phones.
Yeah, so the easiest way to do it, David, is that the missus, I'm giving her a shout to my brother. He's the one to figure this out. So if you don't have Spotify, it's an app you can listen to music on for free. If you download that and search Rusty Hooks Live, you'll find us very quickly on it.
Okay, good deal. Well, episode 2 in the books of Rusty Hooks Live. Just remember, our hooks may be rusty, but our points are always sharp. We're going to sign out. Come back next week. Thank you, guys.